I think this kind of felt nice for the Cardinals. They lost Patrick Peterson. Their corners, at least, I don't think are the best. Budda Baker's really good. So I think they need to go corner here. I'm going J.C. Horn. Just, fill Pat Pete's shoes. Give them some talent at the cornerback position, which I don't believe they have very much. Vish, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, they don't. Patrick Peterson's gone. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. So I think that worked out really well for them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think J.C. Horn is a perfect pick for them. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate because J.C. Horn's an absolute baller. He's physical. He's really good. But I think Arizona is a good spot for him. And the one thing I'll say about J.C. Horn is he's a little bit grabby, and that's going to get called in the NFL. He's a true press corner. He's physical. I think Brandon Ayuk would have his way with J.C. Horn. I'm just going to say that right now. I think there's certain guys J.C. Horn really matches up well with. I think he's for sure a first-round pick. He's a baller corner. But I think Brandon Ayuk would absolutely dominate J.C. Horn. That's just the way I feel about it. But that leads me to pick 17, and this is a no-brainer to me. This is the best linebacker in the class. I know they signed Corey Littleton, but they need a guy who's going to run around, cover, make big-time plays in Gus Bradley's scheme. It's, again, the Seattle scheme. They need their Fred Warner, their Bobby Wagner. To me, that's Jeremiah Owusu. Blake, what's the last word?
Koramoah.
He's a perfect pick to me right there. I don't even think there's a lot to discuss. He's just a baller. He's so physical. He's so fast. He's so strong. To me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and Nick Kwiatkowski was actually kind of a beast for them. But, their defense still just can't figure it out. Like, they've invested a lot there, really. I mean, Farrell was the 4th pick. They brought in LaMarcus Joyner. They've brought in free agents last year, even linebackers. They've tried D linemen, but they've struggled. So maybe, just maybe, Owusu Koramoah will be able to fill in some of the gaps that have been left by the Gruden regime. But I'm up next with the Miami Dolphins now. This is interesting. Now, Vish might go Mac Jones here if he was in my spot. I'm not going Mac Jones.
I probably would, to be honest with you.
So it says their needs are wide receiver, O-lineman, running back. Is that cornerback?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Cornerback is definitely not a need for them.
Cornerback. I mean, they got 2 pretty good dudes right there. I know Najee Harris gets mocked here a lot. I kind of see it. I would probably go O-line here if I was them. Just go a tackle. So I see Samuel Cosme's there. I think Tevin Jenkins would be pretty nice for them. I'm a fan of Jenkins. So I'm going Tevin Jenkins. Thoughts, Vish? Am I taking him too early?
I think he's actually a good pick here. My question is, they drafted a right tackle who started, I think, 12 games for them in the second round last year, and he played okay. They have Austin Jenkins. I was wondering if this is perfect time for Landon Dickerson, or Creed Humphrey.
Yeah.
Both are super talents.
Well, here's this, too. A lot of people have been saying Jenkins would maybe be a better fit for guard. He has a little shorter arms. His criticism of him is his feet are a little slower than his upper body. So working in a smaller confined space might be better for him. And he's you use the word mammoth, but that is what this dude truly is. He's like 6'6", 310. He has a baby face. He's a baby face killer, but no, he is going to be good on whatever line he goes to. And he is a mauler. So I think that really helped them because you can never have enough O-line talent.
Agreed. So we get to Washington, and if I didn't take Owusu Koramoah with the Raiders, to me, I wouldn't even take Mac Jones. I would take him. I like Jamin Davis a lot. I think it's too early for Jabril Cox and Zaven Collins, who would be the other linebackers I think are first-round guys. I got to go Mac Jones here, don't I? I like Mac Jones a lot, actually. I think I actually have him rated above Trey Lance. That's just my opinion on it in terms of the quarterbacks in the draft. But I didn't really want to take him with Washington here, but
maybe the Bears.
Yeah, I didn't want him going to the Bears either. That you can't wish that upon any quarterback's career. Mac Jones is so consistent. He's accurate. He throws with anticipation. He manages the pocket well. He processes well. He very decisive on where to go with the ball. I think Mac Jones would be a good fit, and I think they need more conservative quarterback play. I've talked about it a lot before. I think that their defense is ready to go, especially after they got William Jackson. And with Curtis Samuel, their offense can be explosive. They just don't need a quarterback that's going to turn the football over. And that's what Ryan Fitzmagic or Fitztragic sometimes can do. Yeah. So I think Mac Jones is a little safer option for them, and hopefully he can win that job and start.
Yeah.
20 the Bears.
I like him.
Oh, my bad. Your thoughts on Mac Jones?
I think Mac Jones would be a perfect fit here. They have a really good O-line too, for the most part. I don't know if it's great, but I think I know they have a few really good guys.
Right, like Brandon Scherff is a superstar.
Yes. And then they have some talent on offense, but no one talks about it just because of how bad their quarterback play's been, and you can't see him. But Curtis Samuel, Scary Terry McLaurin, my favorite guy, J.D. McKissick, Antonio Gibson, Logan Thomas, those are some decent guys right there. Now, they're not world beaters, not all of them, but you get that group and you're like, okay, these guys can do something with a quarterback that's pretty good, or who we think could be pretty good. But back to the Bears. So where do I start? I mean, you go offense here. I think defense is kind of the move, and I'm thinking cornerback because right now their room's not looking too strong. I mean, they got rid of Fuller to bring in Dalton. Interesting.
Are you going to take the risk?
They have Jalen Johnson. Farley would be interesting. The injury history could be an issue. Let's go Farley. I mean, this could be a saving. This could be a saving move for the GM Ryan Pace, and they desperately need an influx of talent at the cornerback positions. And Caleb Farley could be that. He could also not play much because of his injuries, but we will see.
Were you considering going Kellen Mond?
I was not considering quarterback at all. They have a lot of money.
I'm just kidding.
They have a lot of money in quarterback.
Yeah. The injuries with him is a problem, but if he stays healthy, the Bears got to play.
Yeah.
Absolute player. 21 with the Colts. I don't actually think there's a first-round real tackle left on the board. I know some people like Cosme. He's really athletic. I don't think he's there yet. I don't like Leatherwood that much. Liam Eichenberg, to me, is a middle-round tackle. I don't think Jalen Mayfield is that good. Walker Little is too risky. Dylan Radins, I don't think, is a first-round tackle. So I'm not going to go tackle, and I'm going to go to edge. I think that edge rusher is kind of the way to go. Azeez Ojulari is there. I know that you're probably going to go edge with Tennessee. So that really gives me room to pick who I want. I'm kind of between Jason Owe, Azeez Ojulari, and Joe Tryon. I think they're all really good players, and they're all slightly different, right? Jason Owe is special athlete. Azeez Ojulari is a good athlete who's great with his hands, and Joe Tryon is explosive, solid with his hands, opportunity to be a very good player. But I think the Colts, because of all the assets they have the ability to make this risk. And that's to get possibly the best edge in the draft. I'm going to go Jalen Phillips. To me, the Colts are going to have a really good defense, even if Jalen Phillips' health is a little bit of an issue. But if you have Jalen Phillips and his health isn't an issue, you just got the steal of the draft. So to me, that's where I would go. I'm going to take the risk right after you took the risk.
Yeah, so their D-line, Buckner's obviously an all-pro. He's insane. But besides that, they don't really have a second guy who's, really dominant. They've had Justin Houston there for a little bit, but he's a little out of his prime. But if they could get another really solid D lineman, I mean, Darius Leonard we know is a beast. Secondary's not terrible. They got some guys there. D-line is where I'm thinking if they could get another stud there, this defense would be even another notch higher than I think they already are, and they're probably a top 8 defense at the minimum. Eberflus a really good DC. I like Phillips there. That was a really good pick.
So I'm assuming I kind of know where you're going with Tennessee. You always talk about it with
So
Tennessee,
I
their lack
talked
of
about it
pass rush.
last year. I know I'm not the biggest Jadeveon Clowney fan. I'm not a Vic Beasley fan, and those who their starting D linemen were or edge rushers were last year didn't really do much. They signed Bud Dupree. So I think that's a really good get for them because they're obviously missing any semblance of a pass rush. So I'm gonna double dip here for them. Would you think Azeez Ojulari or Joseph Asai or
I would go Ojulari here. That to me, yeah, it's Ojulari all the way.
Okay, let's go with him then.
Yeah, I think that's actually nice because now they have Ojulari, Jeffrey Simmons, who I think is actually the best player on their defense and is a really good player. They could go corner, but I think they got to get that pass rush good. And Bud Dupree is coming off an ACL. You don't know if he's going to recover fully. Harold Landry is always teased with his talent. I think Ojulari is a really good player, and I think that he's a perfect fit there. And I'm going to continue this run on edge rushers, and I'm going to go with Jason Owe to the Jets.
Interesting.
The Jets just got Carl Lawson. I think they have a really good interior defensive line, and I think Quinnen Williams is actually so underrated. He is a baller. He is so good. He is every bit as good as they said that he was going to be when he came out of Alabama. He finally became that player last year. I think Jason Owe has got high potential when you look at his body, his explosiveness, everybody knows is measurable. Is this a special athlete? He ran 4.39, and I think they can develop him. They have the time to develop him, and he can be really special. So to me, that's a no-brainer. And that brings us to Pittsburgh, and I already know where you're going to go with Pittsburgh.
Okay, so I absolutely despise the mocking of Najee Harris to the Steelers. Now, they might do it, and you know what? Let them do it if they want. I just know their O-line has lost a lot of guys over the years. It's pretty old. They're going to get a new quarterback here in the near future. You got to start building up that O-line now. You could go tackle. You could go guard. I'm going Creed Humphrey here. So I'm going him. I know Pouncey retired and maybe he could play center. We'll see. But, I mean, either way, they need help on the O-line desperately. And, you draft Najee Harrison, he's going to run behind an O-line that no one can really run behind. So what would be the point there? If you really like him and think he's that special of a talent, and he is my favorite running back, like I do think he's good, but I just would rather go O-line. So that way, when you do have a new quarterback in the future, and you could maybe run stuff besides 5-yard, in routes to Juju Smith and Deontay Johnson. Because that's a hard offense to watch.
Yeah, no, I love the pick. I think they needed to replace Marquise Pouncey. It's perfect. I actually would have gone Dickerson here, even though he's coming off the ACL. He's moving great. I think Dickerson's the better player, but Creed Humphrey is also a baller, athletic freak. I think they had to pick one of these centers or one of these offensive linemen. Yes, and I think it's a great pick, which brings me to the Jacksonville Jaguars at pick number 25. And to me, I'm going to go wide receiver. I think they need somebody to pair with DJ Chark again. Pick up DJ Chark in fantasy this year. And I'm going to go with Laviska Shenault is kind of your gadget Deebo Samuel kind of guy, but I don't think he's as good a receiver as Deebo. To me, you need your all-around DJ Chark can stretch the field, and he's also an all-around receiver. To me, you need your big kind of guy that goes over the middle of the field that can line up in all three spots. To me, it's a no-brainer. You got to take Terrace Marshall Jr. here. He is an absolute first-round pick wide receiver, in my opinion. He would be probably like the 4th or 5th receiver on my board, and the top 3 are gone. So I think that this would be perfect for them.
Interesting. Yeah, I think he's kind of – I do like the fit more for him. Whether you have Bateman higher, because Bateman looks to be a baller too, but Marshall seems like he's a better fit and just a guy that, like you mentioned, can go over the middle, kind of do anything. Bateman, to me, is more of like a deep route runner guy or more vertical threat. And, after the catch, he's obviously really good too. But Marshall's, in his own right, really good after the catch. 6'3", great hands.
Does it all, honestly.
Yeah. Yep. I like it. So I'm on the clock now with the Browns. So they're looking like they're in a really good spot here. Quarterback, they just picked up the 5th-year option. Running back, they have the best running back combo in the league in quite some time, I think. Receivers, you could say that's a need. I don't think so. Odell, Higgins, Landry, tight ends, we've mentioned they have one of the best tight end rooms. 3 guys who are all pretty good, or at least have the potential to be good. So they don't need a touch offense. Defense is where I think, okay, I'm looking into this a little more. I know they signed Malik Jackson. I'm not completely sold
Sheldon
on it.
Richardson.
Yeah, Sheldon Richardson's gone. Basically, their D-line for the past 2 years has been Myles Garrett versus the world. So they need an influx of talent. I'm not sold on Clowney either. I think this is his best opportunity to show it because he has a guy who demands a double team. I'm going Christian Barmore. Insane against the run. So that'll help a lot. Garrett's good against the run. Garrett's good at everything. But he could also be a pretty good, decent pass rusher too. He's a big man, played for Bama. I like him. I like him a lot. I wish he was there at pick 29 for my Packers, but I'm unfortunately taking him a little early to the Browns so they get some more D-line help for Myles Garrett.
Absolutely. I think that's a no-brainer. That's a great pick, which brings me to Baltimore. And we've talked about so much how Baltimore needs a receiver one, and we've thrown out a lot of names. They just traded Orlando Brown, so tackle is a little bit of a need, but it looks like they're going to sign Alejandro Villanueva to play right tackle as a short-term fix next year. I don't know how much I like that, but okay, I guess they have somebody, somewhat competent. Yeah, which brings me to receiver, and I've kind of struggled with the type of receiver that Baltimore's needed for a while. And I think I've landed on the name that to me is the perfect fit, and that's Kadarius Toney, my favorite player in the draft, and I'm going to take it. I know a lot of people would think Rashad Bateman here. I don't trust Greg Roman with Rashad Bateman. I don't trust Greg Roman with any of these guys. What I think Kadarius Toney will do is he'll immediately make their run game more dynamic, and that's their bread and butter. When you have 3 dynamic ball carriers in Lamar Jackson, J.K. Dobbins, and Kadarius Toney, your offense is immediately more explosive. And 2, I think where Kadarius Toney will make a bigger impact is Hollywood Brown actually plays a lot out of the slot for them, and it's kind of where he plays. He's kind of a deep threat, but I think what they're looking for and what they need is a guy who's secure over the middle, and that's what Kadarius Toney is. He's going to win over the middle of the field. I think that's who they should take. It's a no-brainer to me. He's great with the ball in his hands. And I just like him more than Rashad Bateman, to be honest. Dimey Brown was the other name I considered, but I don't think he's the type of receiver they were looking for. I wish I didn't take Terrace Marshall to the Jaguars, because I think that's who Baltimore needs. But yeah, I would take Kadarius Toney here.
I just want to say, too, imagine a backfield where they put Kadarius Toney and Lamar Jackson. Jeez. I mean, those are 2 of the most electric and explosive guys that can just make anyone miss. And I mean, I don't know, it probably would be something that's more of a gimmick than anything, but just a couple times a game, throw them in the backfield, get them matched up on a linebacker. That'd be cool. But yeah, as you mentioned, will Greg Roman do that is left to be seen.
I mean, he can do it in the run game, right? The run game is great with Baltimore. It's just the pass game. And so that's where I also think J.K. Dobbins is a home run hitter. So I really think it's kind of a 3-way explosion in terms of their run game.
Dobbins is pretty solid too, definitely. But now,
which brings you to the Saints.
Yeah, they're interesting. They're in an interesting spot. I mean, they were $100 million over the cap. They're going to get under it because their GM, I think it's Mickey Loomis is his name. Hopefully I'm not blanking on that. You might have to
Yes, it's Mickey Loomis.
The man is a cap wizard. I mean, the salary cap doesn't exist to him. He's playing with monopoly money. Say what you want. That's the truth. So they have a decent amount of needs. Their defense is a little older, but I'm thinking this is kind of a need that's under the radar. So they had Emmanuel Sanders last year. He's not there anymore. Michael Thomas' health was in question. But Slant Boy's back. He's coming back, and he's going to be a menace again. They need some help for Jameis or Taysom, whoever they roll out with. I know Sean Payton has a man crush on Taysom Hill, so he might start, but They need a receiver. They need a deep threat. I'm thinking Rashad Bateman is the guy here. Pretty explosive after the catch. I think he's the man for them. And yeah, I mean, getting him at 28 is pretty solid value in my eyes. But any thoughts, Vish?
Yeah, I personally wouldn't have taken Bateman here, but I can see the logic. I can see the reasoning. And to me, it is good value. I think actually I would have tried to get Jamin Davis and try and pair Demario Davis with another explosive linebacker. But yeah, I like it. I like it. So this brings you. You're going again. Your Green Bay Packers on the clock.
Back.
Tell me what you're going to do right here.
So knowing the Packers, we drafted our best positions last year, our top 2 positions last year in the first 2 rounds. Maybe Najee Harris, maybe Travis Etienne. I don't know. Nah, just kidding. So with the board the way it is, I would have, if I'm Packers fan, or sorry, I am a Packers fan, so I don't need to say if, but I've done a lot of vids on the Packers mocks. Talked about Newsome, talked about Asante Samuel Jr., talked about Tevin Jenkins. I like all those guys. This is tough, Vish. O-line could be maybe. What do you think, Vish? What do you think?
Who would I take here?
Yeah,
I would go Jamin Davis right here. Take the linebacker, explosive athlete.
Interesting.
Especially because I know that you're not as hot on Zaven Collins.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not the biggest Zaven Collins, at least for the Packers. Now, other teams, sure. Not for the Packers. I'm going different here. I'm going corner. We saw what happened in Tampa
man, you're going to take Greg Newsome, aren't
you? We're taking Greg Newsome, yeah.
Oh, man.
We need another corner. Kevin King's only here for a year. If he or Jair gets injured, we're down to Josh Jackson, Iowa, my guy, but still, Jan Sullivan's a slot. We could use a third corner, who I think Greg Newsome would probably develop to be our second corner, can play man or zone. I guess you could say he's a little undersized, but I'm not worried about him. He looks to be pretty solid from what I've seen, and I'm not the biggest cornerback, scout or whatever, but I think he'll be solid for the Packers if they do take him.
So I was just planning to take Greg Newsome with the Bills. To me, that was a no-brainer, but now you changed my plans. I like him for the Packers. I see your logic. To me, I was hoping you would go Jamin Davis. 1, I think it would be a great fit. 2, I can't take Jamin Davis because the Bills brought Matt Milano back. So this kind of leaves me in a tough spot with the Bills because I do think their defense needs help. I think Starlo Tulale coming back will help them. Ed Oliver has been a little bit of a disappointment. I would like to go with that second cornerback here.
Yeah.
I don't know if the value is really, really there.
If there's a guy, maybe Asante Samuel. I've seen him play a little bit, but I don't know if you like
I'm gonna go with the guy who I think is just the best available player here, and just load up on their interior defensive line. Get Lotulelei, Ed Oliver, and add Levi Onwuzurike to that.
Onwuzurike?
Yeah, I pronounced his name a little bit there. I apologize, Levi, but I think that's the way to go. He's an absolute stud. I think this is the perfect value for him. He's strong against the run, good pass rusher. I think he's the second best defensive tackle after Barmore, and I think this is the spot for him to go.
Interesting. So Ravens are back up. They just traded, so we picked the perfect day to do a mock, so we don't have to, cross out the Chiefs. We got the Ravens. We already took a receiver for them. We took Terrace. Or no, we did not take Terrace Marshall. We took Kadarius Toney. What am I talking about? We took Kadarius Toney. I don't think they should double dip, and I'm not the biggest fan of their receiving core, but I think they got to go O-line here. We mentioned Alejandro Villanueva, but their interior O-line has kind of lost some guys over the years. They lost Yanada, Matt Skura. They had some issues with snapping the football that were very apparent. Is it Landon Dickerson time, Vish? I know the Ravens. Would be perfect. I know the Ravens love drafting Bama guys or just guys from like top tier schools, or guys that were big time in college football. It just seems like a Ravens thing to do. So we're going with Landon Dickerson.
Yeah, I think that's the pick of this entire mock draft. Mm-hmm. He is so good, and I think that's the perfect fit for them. They need a center. He seems to be running already and working out and all of that. So I guess his ACL just doesn't affect him like it affects other humans. He's an absolute stud. I love it. Which brings us to the end of this mock, right? We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the clock, and I'm on the clock. And I think this is really a hard team.
This is weird.
Yeah, because
they don't have any holes.
Yeah, the way it looks, Tampa Bay has this perfect team, right? And I've been kind of thinking about this one a little bit as you picked Landon Dickerson, because I was thinking maybe if Ryan Jensen gets hurt or something, I don't know. Yeah. But they don't really need that offensive lineman. I'm just saying that because Dickerson's the best player on the board.
Sorry. Not Harris to Tampa. I agree. They got good running back.
No, absolutely not. I am not going linebacker. There is no chance I'm going. Excuse me, running back. Excuse me, Freudian slip. I really considered going tight end with Pat Freiermuth. I don't think it's the best fit.
They got some good tight ends there.
I'm going to select an Antonio Brown replacement, and I'm going to go Elijah Moore.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's what. Oh, let's view the full results. But yeah, I'm gonna select the Antonio Brown replacement. He's kind of like Antonio Brown, really quick feet, gets open. I think that's the perfect fit for them. That's what they need. I don't know what's gonna happen with Antonio Brown. Elijah Moore's a stud, and I think that's the way to go.
Interesting. I don't know if I'd take receiver. I kind of like Tyler Johnson and
Scotty Miller.
Skip Bayless is the biggest fan, or Skip Bayless is one of his favorite players. Scotty Miller. He made Kevin King look like burnt toast the last time they played the Packers. So I don't know. I don't know if I like. It's tough to say. I'd say interior D line for them could be something that they could look for.
Yeah, but I
don't know if there's a value there. Yeah,
right. So if you did what you were, this is actually your fault. So if you did what you were supposed to do and pick Jamin Davis to the Packers, I would have picked Newsome to the Bills, and then that leaves Levi Onwuzurike to go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it works perfectly. So if you have a problem with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Buffalo Bills picks, make sure you blame Blake Adams because this is his fault.
This is true. I messed.
So you want to just do a quick recap?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that. I like it.
Trevor Lawrence went 1. Blake took
Zach Wilson, number 2. Welcome to you.
I took Justin Fields to the 49ers.
Took the best tight end and pass catcher, possibly Kyle Pitts.
Penei Sewell to the Bengals.
Devonta Smith.
Trey Lance went to the Lions.
Slater, Micah Parsons, Surtain.
Kwity Paye, Jamar Chase, Darisaw, Vera Tucker.
This is where it's interesting. Waddle at 15 to the Patriots. I don't know if he'll I'm interested to see where the receivers go. That'll be kind of besides quarterbacks, I'm interested to see where all these receivers go, to be honest with you.
Right. The nice thing is this isn't a predictive mock draft. We were just doing what we think would be the best pick at that spot.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Owusu Koromoa, Tevin Jenkins, Mac Jones, Caleb Farley, Jalen Phillips, Azeez Ojulari, Jason Owe, Creed Humphrey, Terrace Marshall, Christian Barmore, Kadarius Toney. Blake took Rashad Bateman to the Saints. He messed up the draft by taking Greg Newsome to the Packers, making Levi Onwuzurike go to the Bills. Landon Dickerson, best pick of the draft, in my opinion, to the Ravens. And finally, Elijah Moore closing out that first round by going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And so, if you guys want to put in the chat, like, what are your thoughts? What would you guys have done differently than us